This is the little Sony ZV-E10, and I'm going to show you how to rig it out. The Sony ZV-E10 is a very popular camera for content creators, vloggers, YouTubers, streamers because of its easy way to plug into a computer and act as a webcam. But what if you want to use it more than just as a webcam at your computer? Today, I will show you how to rig out a camera like this with everything you will need to be able to film all day long. I will have Amazon affiliate links to everything I talk about today, and I try to keep this build pretty budget oriented, trying to keep the cost down as low as possible while meeting all the needs that I need met. And while I'm showing you on a Sony camera, the principles here can apply to any camera, whether it's a Canon, Nikon, Blackmagic, no matter what, all the principles remain the same because most cameras act the same way with their ports and how you can plug stuff into them. Anyways, let's get into it. The first and most important thing that you will need when you want to start rigging out a camera is a camera cage. This is a camera cage by SmallRig. This is specifically made for the Sony ZV-E10. And it's pretty simple. You just take your camera and you just slide it on in. There we go. And then these SmallRig cages come with a little screwdriver right here that you can take out and then screw in like that. So we'll just make sure it's nice and tight here. There we go. Okay, so now it has its cage on it. This cage is gonna give you a nice little extended pinky grip because that camera is pretty hard to hold without it. It's also gonna give you a lot more spots to thread in and mount stuff to, so you'll see your big 3/8 inch with your RU locating pins hole right here, and then a bunch of 1/4 20 inch. It also comes with a built-in Arca Swiss plate down here on the bottom. All right, so now into the lens. The lens I'm rocking on this build, on this rig, is the Viltrox 25mm f1.8. There we go. f1.7, I lied. So let's go ahead and take this cap off. Make sure you're very careful here. The way I like to do this when I'm putting a lens on a camera is unscrew the back of this cap. You can take it off, but then just kind of set it back on there. Unscrew this. Now it's time to get ready. You got both things loose. Keep this pointed down, take the cap off, take that off. You know where your dot's going, line it up, screw it in. Boom, just like that, we're done. Camera's ready to go. And we've got a lens on it. This lens has one of these little lens hoods that you can take off, do like that kind of thing. But for the most part, I just kind of leave the lens like that. This is what we're working with now. This is a perfectly adequate rig right here, just a cage and a nice lens on it to walk around. This is how I typically keep the camera, just like this. So the next thing is a way to keep your camera powered all day long. And for that, you're going to need something like this Neewer V-mount plate. Because the camera cage has the Arca Swiss plate, you can just go ahead and slide it right in. Slide it in. It's got a little locking function right there where you can slide it in, and let's lock it in. Okay, so now it is in. Now our camera is in the battery plate holder. And what this is for is to attach what's called V-mount batteries. This is also a Neewer V-mount battery right here. This is the, let's see if it's on here, the PS099EP. It is a 99 watt hour V-mount battery. Yeah, it's got all your USB-C, your DC, and your USB-A, as well as your DTAP and BP port, if I can speak. But the point of one of these rigs right here is that you can take your V-mount battery and slide it right onto the back. There we go. Now we got our battery, and I have set this up so that it can still take an NPF battery. I'll show you what I mean. So if I take off my V-mount battery, if I don't want to use a V-mount or I run out of my V-mount, I have outfitted this NPF plate right here with a V-mount adapter. SmallRig NPF plate with an added V-mount adapter to it. There we go. So that this can also slide right in to the V-mount plate. Now it's a combo V-mount NPF plate. So then I can also just take another, this is also Neewer. I like Neewer products. They make pretty good stuff for the price. Take a Neewer NPF battery and then boom, I've got, get in the frame here. I've got NPF battery too. Now it obviously does not look quite as nice with the NPF battery as it does with the V-mount battery, but if it means your camera will stay on If you can keep recording, I like it. And I like to make my systems robust and versatile so that multiple things can do multiple jobs if they need to. Now, you'll notice this is not that easy to hold anymore. It's just this one handle. So we need another way to hold this thing. I typically like to add 2 ways to hold my camera. Start off with the top handle. This is the SmallRig top handle with the 3/8 and RE pin. And so it screws in to the top of the camera cage just like this. This is why you get your camera cage. So for now, I'm just gonna lock this down hand tight, but when you're doing real work, you wanna use an Allen key or something on that so that you know it's not gonna fall. But there we go. Now we've got a nice handle on it. The next handle I like to put on is a side handle. And this is a wooden side handle. I can't remember the brand of it off the top of my head, but I'll have it linked down in the description. It's got 2 1/4 screws, and this goes in on the side. Something I have figured out about this camera specifically, if you want to do one of these side handles and plug in a mic, you need to open, at least this particular side handle, you need to open the mic port tab first, and then put on your side handle. And the side handle has to kind of almost clamp down on top of the mic cover. The thing I've learned about camera rigging is sometimes your order of operations very much does matter. Things have to be put on in a certain order. For example, I figured out I either have to open this flap up and lock it in place a certain way, or just go ahead and plug in the mic first. Now, I know V-mount's not connected to anything yet. We'll do that at the very end. Let's rig it all out, and then we'll run all of our wires everywhere. So next, we need a monitor. This little screen's great on here, but I want to make it bigger so I can see what's in focus. It's too hard to tell where your focus is at on this little screen. Which also, by the way, if you get in a position like me and your screen is locked behind your V-mount, don't worry. This little plate, this little battery plate, I already thought of that. You can unscrew it, open it up, close it back on in, tighten it down, and then boom. You're back where you need to be, and now you can see your screen. I like to leave my screen out like that so I can still access it. All right, so next is monitor. And the way I like to attach my monitor is with this newer monitor mount. I do it kind of sideways like that, so it works the best with my mic. I'll show you what I mean here. You know what, that's actually a good point. While we're thinking about our mic and we were just working with the mic port, let's go ahead and mount our mic. So the mic I'm using is the Rode VideoMic Pro. This is the older version of it. It's just 3.5 millimeter. Works pretty well, battery operated, AA battery. No complaints here with this mic. Let's get to it. Go ahead and just mount it here on my top handle. Route this cord a little bit, and then we'll go ahead, plug her on in. Boom. So there we have our mic mounted. Now, the reason I do that before the monitor is you'll see right here, this kind of has to go on top of that. If I can get it in here. There we go. So this kind of sits on top of the mic, kind of locks it in there. And boom, there we go. Once again, I'll reiterate, when you're really working with all this stuff and you're out and about, make sure you lock all this stuff in with the Allen key, really tighten it down. I'm just doing hand tight right now because I'm sitting at my desk. But don't let your stuff fall to the ground. Drop. So now we've got monitor mount on here. The monitor I use is the FeelWorld F6 Pro. Is that what it's called? F6 Pro, that's what it's called. If it'll focus on it, it's having a hard time. Yeah, this 4K monitor, I think it only does 4K 30. It's not that great, it's pretty cheap. It doesn't do external recording or anything like that, but it allows me to see my image bigger. In terms of if this was a gaming monitor, it would be absolutely atrocious. The ghosting on this thing is terrible. I've never seen such bad ghosting on the screen, but it doesn't get in the way of how I shoot normally. We're looking pretty good here. Next thing, and this is one of my newest additions to the rig. This is the K&F Concept Mini Matte Box. Got a carbon fiber matte box here. So the way this works is it's got a little adapter thing in it. Take that out, and then this screws onto my camera. I do need another lens adapter. That's for a 67 millimeter. I've got a 52 millimeter lens on here right now. It's not a 52 millimeter lens, the thread is 52 millimeters. But I've got another adapter. So we'll take this adapter, screw it on like so. And we take this adapter and then screw it on like so, trying to scratch your lens. That's what I'm always worried about doing this. There we go. And then you take your matte box, you lock it on in just like so. Get your mic positioned properly. You can see when you have the mic on here, you can only go about 90 degrees with it. Otherwise you're gonna, you're pushing on your mic. But yeah, you can still get up there and that mic is still nice and exposed. So this is what the camera rig's looking like now. We got the V-mount battery, we got top handle. We got side handle, we got mic, monitor, and then matte box on the very front. Also, one last thing, I guess, about the matte box is if you want to, you can also take your filters. This is a CPL filter, polarizer filter, and a V&D filter screwed together. So combo wombo filter here. And you can screw that right into the end of your camera. There we go. So now we've got filters on the end of the matte box. Yeah. Here's how it's looking. Battery, matte box, microphone, filters, monitor, got it all built off of this little tiny camera body. It still has that kind of mini feel to it, you know, like it's like a small TV camera here. All right, here's how you wire it all up, because there are a couple things now that need to be done in terms of wiring. Things you need to wire this and keep it powered. What I like to use are a dummy battery. And be careful with these, because if you don't know what you're doing, you can blow up your camera. You will kill your camera with these if you don't know what you're doing. And then I made this little combo snake thing, kinda, that's got a HDMI, a coiled HDMI, and then a coiled DC cord coiled together. So the coils are just interwoven and some Velcro on it. And then one of the sides has just got two of these like DC barrel adapters that kind of just, this is a 5.5 by 2.1, and then I adapt it to a 5.5 by 2.5. If you know what that means and if you care about what that means. Normally what it means is this is for most 8-volt ports, and then this can adapt it to most 12-volt ports. What that also means is you have to be super careful with these, because you can plug stuff into stuff that's not necessarily meant to be plugged into each other. And you can kill stuff. You can fry your batteries and whatnot. Like you could turn this dummy battery right here, which is only meant to get like 8 volts. Normally operates at like 7.4 volts, and this operates at 8 volts from dummy power. I've been doing a lot of research on the batteries, so I know I don't blow my stuff up. But like you could plug this in to that, and then just plug this right into a 12 volt DC outlet, and then boom, dead camera. So you've got to be super careful about what you plug into, and you got to know what you're doing. Same thing with on your dummy battery ports. I recommend using a DTAP to dummy battery connection if you can do that, but I'm just using DC to dummy battery. And when you do that, you want to make sure most of these V-mount and even MPF batteries will have an 8 volt and a 12 volt. You want to make sure that your dummy batteries and whatnot only ever go into this 8 volt. Camera batteries have a maximum output or maximum charge capacity of 8.4 volts. So 8 volts is fine. They normally operate around 7.4 volts is what you'll see. If you do 12 volts into a camera battery port, if you do 12 volts into a camera, you will kill it. So don't do that. Be aware of that. But anyways, I've been doing all this research so I make sure I don't kill my camera. Anyways, I can take this snake here. I'll show you how it works now. The big HDMI port goes on the monitor. One of these DC barrels goes into the monitor. Snake this backwards. Micro HDMI goes into the camera. And get this nice and over your mic. And then this is where I use one of these DC adapters, because the monitor is actually 12 volts in. So I go into the 12 volt port back here, stick that guy in. Boom. So now my monitor should power up. So then you take your dummy battery, make sure, plug it into the camera end first. You don't want to go in there with live power while you know, stuff's open. So take out your normal battery, plug in your dummy battery. Remember, be super anal about your dummy battery voltages and what ports it goes into, because you don't want to kill your camera. That's the last thing you want to do. Take this and plug it into your 8 volt port, and then boom, now I can turn on camera. There we go. Camera is up and running. So as you can see, we got some cables out and about, but they don't typically get in the way. You can get a nice handheld here, nice handhold here, and all of this is built up around the Sony ZV-E10. But all of these components can go in pretty much any other camera, from the matte box, the battery, the handles, the battery plate, everything but essentially the dummy battery can just go right onto any other camera you want to put it onto. But this system right here will allow you to record for pretty much all day long, and when you do need to switch, all you gotta do is pop out these two DC barrels, take out this battery and throw in a new battery. Whether it's a V-mount battery or if you want to switch over to NPF battery, actually life gets easier. Let me show you. Turn everything off here. So if we unplug everything from that, and if we want to go the NPF route, we slide our NPF plate in here. The NPF plate actually has DC ports on the plate itself. So we can go ahead and plug in our dummy battery over here. The only problem is that now they're crisscrossed, but it's really not that big a deal. And then 12 volt over there. And now we can hot swap batteries. I'll support it a little bit when I plug it in. But now we can hot swap batteries, meaning we can film with this NPF battery in here, however long we need to. And then when it's time to switch, we don't have to unplug any cords. All we gotta do is take the battery out and then pop a new NPF battery right in there. Super simple. But typically the NPF batteries are my second resort option after the V-mount is already dead, or if the V-mount's deployed somewhere else. I'll also use this V-mount to run my 300 watt Cobb light. And so if the V-mount's running that light, then I've got to run NPFs for the camera. But anyways, here we go. This is my rig, cinema rig, if you will, for the Sony ZV-E10. Oh yeah, almost forgot. The last thing I like to add to my rig is a pair of IEMs. These are what I have found to be best for monitoring audio. While I know studio headphones are technically better for this kind of work, they're not as small and portable. These can go in my pocket super easily. Pop them in my ears and then pop them right into the headphone port of the camera. Boom. Now I can monitor camera audio. Turn the mic on so I can actually hear the mic. My mic's pointing away from me, so that is all kinds of echoey. Here we go. Now I'm monitoring some good audio. And then when you need to take the IEMs out, the reason why these are good compared to a pair of studio headphones, wrap them up around your hand or whatever, you know, and then you can take your coil and park them right on your side handle. Boom. Now your IEMs are secured on the rig. And when it's time to grab them, slide them on off. Boom. All right. So that is the cinema rig. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Let me know if you think there's anything I'm missing from this rig. And let me know how you like to build out your rigs. What's your favorite component on here? What do you think I need to get off of here? Do I have anything that doesn't need to be on here? Tell me what you think. Anyways, that's going to wrap up this one. Until the next one, remember, stay cordial. See you guys.